Hello, everybody. So since we just took a quiz and you guys have a retake coming up, I wanted to make sure we go through the answers just so you can check your own answers. So this was the first problem. It said write the following ellipse in standard form. So what you should have done to get this right is, first of all, we're going to move all the x's on the same side. Okay. And then, or get them right next to each other. I'm going to leave a little bit of a space because we're going to have to complete that square at some point. The y's on right next to each other. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this 36 by subtracting 36 on both sides. And I'm going to get rid of this 45 by subtracting 45 on both sides. So that would be like 45 minus 36. Okay. So on this side, the 45s are going to cancel out. And you're left with equals a negative 36. So in order to complete the square, we talked about, you don't have to actually have, you could have a perfect square trinomial where this number is not a 1, but it's so much easier if it is a 1. So we talked about in class factoring out the 9, so it just says x squared. And then if you divide everything by 9, you get 4x. And on this side, you want to get this equal to y squared, because it's just a lot easier to complete the square. So we factor out the 5. And I got 6 because 30 divided by 5 is 6. Now, in these parentheses, I want to complete the square. So I divide negative 4 by 2 and square it, and I get plus 4. But you're not really adding a 4 here. You're actually adding a 36 because 9 times 4. So I have to add another 36 on this side. And over here, in order to complete the square, divide by 2 and square it, you get plus 9. But you're not really adding a 9. You're adding a 5 times 9. You're adding a 45. So negative 36 plus 45 would equal 45. And the whole reason why I completed the square was I want to rewrite this as x minus 2 squared with the 9 out in front. Plus, here it's 5 times y plus 3 squared, which equals 45. And last, we have to get this equal to 1. So I'm going to divide everything by 45. Becomes a 1, divide this by 45, and divide this by 45. Well, 9 and 45, that reduces to x minus 2 squared over 5. And 5 and 45 reduces to 1/9. So y plus 3 squared equals 1 with a plus. And this would have been your answer for the first one. That would have been the standard form of the ellipse. Now, also to note is the center would be at positive 2, negative 3. That'll actually help us later. All right, so what are the vertices of the ellipse? Okay, so what are the vertices of the ellipse? So you can see, okay. So the vertices are going to be the one, it's stretched more up and down because the 9 is bigger than the 5. So I know my ellipse is going to kind of look, maybe not exactly like this, but more long than it is wide. So the vertices would be here and here. The vertices, remember, are how much you go up or down from the center. And that's always represented by this number, but the square root. This is a squared, whereas I only need what a is. So I know I go up and down 3. Well, if I go up and down 3 and I start at 2, negative 3, going up 3 would be at 2, 0. Going down 3 would be at 2, negative 6. And there are our 2 answers for our vertices. Going left and right will get us our covertices, and that, remember, is b. And you can figure out how much you go up or down by looking at this number. But this is b squared. So it's the square root of this number tells us how much we go left and right. So I'm going left the square root of 5 and right the square root of 5. So that's going to affect my x-coordinate. So 2 plus the square root of 5, comma negative 3 would be 1 covertice. And to go left root 5 would be 2 minus root 5, comma negative 3. And there are the answers for the 2 covertices. Last, foci of the ellipse, remember we do a squared minus b squared. Here's my a squared and here's my b squared. So 9 minus 5, square rooted. So 9 minus 5 is 4. The square root of 4 is 2. So that means my foci are going to be 2 away from my center. Now remember, we talked about how if it's an ellipse where the vertices are like this way, This is our major axis. That means our foci are also on that line. So that's telling me I'm going to go up and down 2. Well, if I start at 2, -3, and I go up 2, I'm at 2, -1. And if I go down 2, I'm at 2, -5. And I just basically took the center of my circle right here, and I went up 2 and down 2. And remember, I got that root 4 by doing a squared minus b squared, square root. So for the next one, the foci, so I'm going to just draw this for a second. The foci are at 0, 3 and 8, 3. So the center would be the average. 0 plus 8 divided by 2 is 4, and 3 plus 3 divided by 2 is 3. So the center's at 4, 3. So the equation ellipse, I already know it's x minus 4, comma, y minus 3 squared, plus, which equals 1. So that's the start of my form of the equation. And then I got to find out how much did it move. So since these are my vertices, I know that I moved to the right 4. So the a is 4. But when you put it into the formula, it's a squared. So this would be 16. Now, how much did I move up and down? So the foci, I don't know how much I moved up and down yet, but I know the foci are at, oh, I made a mistake. Oops. I totally, by mistake, I put this as the, these are the foci. So I actually know I go left and right 4 to get to my foci. So this is not true. Sorry about that. I read the problem wrong. The vertices are at 9, 3 and -1, 3. So we'll deal with that. That we do need that distance, but if you go left and right, actually this is still my center though, because the center is directly between my foci as well. So I'm still going to get very much the same equation, in which x minus 4 squared plus y minus 3 squared. So that part's right. Okay, but how far did I go over? So my vertex, my vertice is at 9, 3. So that means I actually went over 5 to get to my vertice, which means 5 squared underneath the x squared would be 25, because that's 5 squared. Now to get this amount, which I don't know right now, I'm going to have to use the fact that the foci, we know the foci was over 4. It says it right there. Okay, the foci went over 4. And to find the distance of the foci, so to get that 4, I would have had to do a squared minus b squared. Well, we know a squared is 25. So now I have 25 equals 4 minus b squared, square rooted. So the first step is to get rid of the square root by squaring both sides. That leaves us with 16 equals 25 minus b squared. If I subtract 25 on both sides, you get -9 equals -b squared. And last, I'm going to divide both sides by -1, and you get b equals 3. Well, remember, in writing the equation, all you need is b squared, so I actually just put a 9 there. Co-vertices of the ellipse, if I know that right here is the distance of my co-vertices squared, I know I'm going up and down 3, up 3 and down 3. Well, if the center of my circle, if the center of my ellipse is at 4, 3, and I'm going up 3 and down 3, that means that my co-vertices would be at 4, 6, and 4, 0. And those would be the answer to my co-vertices. Please watch this and let me know if you have any questions.